Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Full Pelt Music Podcast. Today, I'm going to be joined by the Picturebooks. Now, I caught the Picturebooks last year supporting Pretenders and was absolutely blown away by their stunning show. They're going to be touring the UK again very shortly, so there's no better time than now for me to catch up with the band. The duo released their latest album, Albuquerque, last year, so we've got plenty to talk about. Before we dive into that chat, though, the usual reminders from myself. If you would, please do follow Full Pelt on social media. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And again, from me, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening. But now it's time for that chat with the Picturebooks, so let's go. Absolutely delighted to have the Picturebooks on the Full Pelt Music Podcast today. We've got Finn and we've got Philip. Obviously, yeah, really excited to talk to you because we've got a lot we can delve into. It's an exciting time for the band. First things first, though, I want to go back in time just a few months because I caught you guys live in a little place in England called Ipswich. You were supporting the Pretenders. And I was aware of you guys before that. I like to think I'm in tune with music, and I picked up on you guys, but hadn't really dived in. You guys walked on stage, absolutely blew me away. Absolutely fantastic set, and obviously have really fallen in love with the band since. So again, looking forward to this chat. But I mean, what an opportunity that was for you both, obviously, to play with such an iconic band, Pretenders. So what was that experience like for you going on the road with those guys?
Well, first of all, hello everyone. And second, it was a great honor. I mean, we go way back with Chrissy. It all started a couple years ago when we played a festival for Harley Davidson and Saint Tropez. And Pretenders were headlining that weekend. And so we were kind of nervous back then. We are huge Pretenders fans. And I remember that day clearly. We're sound checking, and you got to imagine this stage is right on the beach in Saint Tropez, beautiful. And you got the water to the left, the stage right on the beach, and the whole like bikes and everything was all happening to the right of us. And we're sound checking, no one on the beach. All of a sudden, this lady dressed in black walks onto the beach and just headbangs the hell out of it, and we're playing our song "Your Kisses Burn Like Fire," which is like kind of the song that we always sound check. And usually we just play like 10 seconds or so, and then Pops, my dad, who's our mix guy, usually he's fine with that. He just needs to hear that. All right, we're good. Next up, like it's kind of it. But when you realize it's Chrissy Hine herself standing there, loving it, we just kept going and going. And then she just ran towards the stage and she screamed at Philip and me. She's like, "Who the fuck are you?" And well, long story short, we clicked right away. We hung out. We had a cup of tea. I remember doing that with her, which was rad. And we just talked, and just liked each other real fast. And we changed numbers. And when you're in the music business, you have moments like that every once in a while where you swap numbers or contacts, and usually these things just kind of fade away. It's one of those things that the music industry, I guess, is. We all been there, and but dang, I mean, we just kept texting each other all the time when she was in the area, or if whenever we were in London, because that's where she lives. We're like texting each other, and like a couple days later, I'm like, I'll just shoot a text her and ask her if she's down to do a song, thinking that she's not going to answer back or something like that. But she like answered back in 2 minutes. She's like, "I'm down. Let's go." Sent me the files so I can listen to the song. And my problem was we didn't even have a song. Neither did we have any idea, nothing. So we had to write a song that night, and we did and recorded it. Pretending now, talking of the Pretenders, pretending now that song existed. I sent all the files to her, and she loves it. Recorded it right away. So, long story short, and I know I've said this the second time now, is we did a song with her, we did a video with her, we played a show with her, and all of this was happening. So the next thing that we really needed to do now is go on tour with her. We always talked about it. And but word on the street was Pretenders don't do support acts. They just do their own show and that's it. But she really wanted it, so she talked to the management and all. She really fought hard that we're part of that bill, and it was just amazing. She treated us like royalty. We were part of all the catering. Always had great, like way too good green rooms, and this is the kind of stuff that, I mean, obviously the audience don't really see that day, but obviously the bigger part of the day is all of that for the band. The show is the one, in our case, half hour that we got, but there's 23 and a half hours around it. And so just an amazing team that treated us great. Everyone was respectful, and we all became close friends at the end of the tour and towards the end of the tour. And, it was just amazing. Every day we talked to Christy. She was always in a great mood. She was always nice to all of us. And, just an all in all great experience. Sorry for the really long answer to that short question.
No, I absolutely love it, and it was a great evening. I mean, obviously, the Pretenders killed it as you would expect, and obviously yourselves. Like I said, I was familiar with the band, and I was conscious coming into it, thinking to myself, the picture books are a bit heavier than the Pretenders. I wonder how the Pretenders audience will react to obviously this band coming on and creating this noise on the stage, because there's a bit of a difference there stylistically, although a lot of similarities as well. And actually, I thought the audience in Ipswich, where we were at least, like reacted so well to you, took you on board, and that obviously really brought into what you were delivering from that stage. Is that something you found across all of the shows?
It was definitely great to see that. Exactly. I mean, obviously, what you were saying was going through our heads. I mean, we are a pretty heavy band, and so we're like, should we like tone down the heaviness of it? We were trying to, we were having all these talks, and Chrissy was very straight up with her saying, "Don't change anything. I want the picture books to be my support band, not anything else. Don't water it down. Be yourself." And as if people know Chrissy, she is all about that. Artists should never tone down anything. Always be yourself, art first. And the other thing that people should know about her is, if Chrissy tells you something, tells you to do something, you do it. she has a way of getting you to do the things the way that she wants you to do them. So yes, we were kind of scared, but every night was a great success. Every night was great. There was not a single night or a single audience that stood out for being less or something. It was all great. The crazy thing for me was, and that happened, the first show was in Denmark. We come in and it was a completely seated audience, so that was a first one for us. So I'm like, oh god dang, I don't know how to deal with that, but turns out it was just amazing. People at some point just stood up and started dancing and stuff like, I mean, all these things happening. Not every night was all seated, but the ones that were unexpectedly were freaking great, and we had a blast.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it was a blast, and two life lessons I think for listeners to take away from that part of the chat already. And obviously, number one is, for artists, but anyone in life, don't turn it down. Always be yourselves. Always be yourselves. And number two, if Chrissy Hind asks you to do something, absolutely do it.
That's it. That's it.
So, obviously, we've got some shows of your own to talk about in just a moment. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about Primate Dancer, which is the latest single you've just put out from your last album, which came out last year. And in a second, I really want to talk to you about the music video, because listeners of this podcast know I love music videos, obsessed with them. But just as a way of an introduction to the song itself, what can you tell us about Primate Dancer? What's the story behind the song?
Well, obviously the title is playing with the other song title, "Private Dancer," and "Private Dancer" is about a stripper, so to speak, that she sings about a dancer for money, and it's this whole thing where, yeah, well, if you want to go into the nitty gritty, Primate Dancer is kind of taken a completely different turn about a very maybe similar situation that I feel like a lot of people are in these days, where we're still these primates internally. We're still doing the same things internally that people did back way back. What I mean, we're cold, so we create something that warms us. Back in the day, they found a way to make fire. We became creative, and that creativity just kept going. Every time something was uncomfortable, we found a solution for it to make the uncomfortable comfortable. And I think the very unique situation that people nowadays are in is the comfort is just taken over, and it's creating, yeah, it's almost like the comfort is the uncomfortable part now. And it's now we're in this like circle. We're like, all right, we're like everything is just creating another problem. And so what I sing about in the song is I sing about the whole algorithm situation that we're all in, about the whole AI thing, without criticizing it, but more like saying, isn't it funny that we don't know anymore if I actually think that this is the way, or is the algorithm telling me to think this way? Is it just, amplifying feelings or ideas that, who knows all these things anymore? And so it is a very, 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 very twisted version of what Private Dancer was about. And now we just called it Primate Dancer. And it's also a song that was written super fast, and like, one of those songs that just worked itself. It was just coming in hand, like second by second. I think I started writing it at home on my laptop, just through into an interface, and it just happened like that. Showed it to Philip. He's like, freaking love it, let's go. And literally it was like I wrote it that night, like a pre-production thing. The next day it was recorded, and the day after we mixed it, done.
Yeah, and it's amazing how often those songs that come together in a short time are often some of the best songs. One of the ones that jumps out at me thinking about that is Paranoid. I know Black Sabbath wrote that in like, just an hour or so at the end of a recording session, and it ended up being their biggest hit. So it's
Yeah.
funny how these things work, and it's a great song.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
listeners, first of the sort of plugs I give away on the podcast, I tend to do a few of these. Obviously, listeners do go and check it out, but really check out, and there'll be a link in the bio of the episode for the video.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
again, listeners know I love a music video. Grew up watching music videos before and after school. I think they helped add so much more to just the music alone, and help buy in with the band quite often for me. And I love this music video. Stop motion capture. So it's got a cool effect to it anyway. Skateboarding. I was a skater when I was younger in my teenage years, so I love that kind of vibe to it as well. It's a great video, but I imagine a painstaking video to put together. So what was the process like for you to create that video?
It must have been crazy to go through all of that. And I only wish I could have been the person that did it, because to be honest, it's not new to me to do stop motion. Me and my dad, we used to do a lot of stop motion little movies back in the day. We had this like VHS camera that had like a shutter, like almost like a little photo shutter, so you could do like stop motion stuff. I loved it. And then later, when the iPhone had like certain kind of apps, Philip and I were doing a lot of that stuff too, where it's like, like you could do like a time lapse thing, but you could tell when to take the shots, so stuff like that. I always loved doing that stuff. Anything time lapse or stuff like that, like stop motion stuff. I love it. And so we came on to this guy, and this is obviously skate world now that I'm talking about. Uh, uh, um, Help me out real quick. I don't want to mess that up. I mean, what's my freaking friend's name that did the stop motion here? Glenn Bills. Oh my God. This is one of those moments, like in my head, I knew the name starting my answer, and now it was leaving me because when friends do favors for you and you have a situation to drop names, you don't want to mess that up. So here it is. And he was doing these kind of things for Thrasher magazine videos and stuff, so we saw that stuff, and it on Instagram it popped up all the time. We just loved it so much. It was just something like you just said too. It just has something. So we hit him up. We're like, hey man, do you have some extra footage? You have stuff that we could maybe use? We have the perfect song for it. And he's like, sure, but I want to listen to the song first. So we sent him the song. He's in New York. We sent him the song. He's like, I freaking love it. Let's go. So he sent us the file. So the process for us was just going through his amazing footage and cut it so it fits the song and kind of build a story, because there's stuff happening. Obviously, it is a story. And yeah, just make it cool. I mean, to be honest, I want to add that to this. We get a lot of shit for really doing all these music videos. I mean, we really go the extra mile. We're doing all these videos ourselves. There's more videos. We did a Why Mother Why. We probably maybe want to talk about that too. But Why Mother Why is a song on the album where we built a robot, and we went an extra mile for that. There's a song like Back to LA. We're going bonkers for that too, with a rapper, a friend of ours, Bat Wolf, is involved in all of that. So there's all these really, really full length music videos, because that is something that we truly believe in. But a lot of people be like, what do you even do that for? Nobody watches a full length video anymore. All they need is a 10-second quick TikTok reel, whatever you want to call it. And that's all there is. And yes, I mean, we see it in the numbers, getting those numbers from full length videos is getting those up is hard if you compare them to the reels or to the stories, but it's still a tool that we love, to use.
And I love that you do that. I honestly do. I mean, I say this a number of times on the podcast. It breaks my heart when I'm obviously interviewing a band on here and I look on YouTube, because that's obviously the best place to go these days to get these videos. And I look on there and I'm like, right, let's find a video that I can talk to the band about. And the amount of times I've looked and there isn't any.
Yeah.
And I'm devastated by that, because it's such a lost art, such a dying art. I say they really
Yeah.
mean something to me, and the fact that you put such energy and passion into creating them, I applaud you massively for it, because it is somewhat, I guess, a bit of a thankless task these days. Because, like you say, most people just want that 10-second clip, but I just, yeah, die a little bit inside every time someone says that to me. So,
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. We worked for Why Mother Why, a song on the album. We did a video, and there's a long story to to the whole song, but I want to, now that we're talking about the video, that video includes a robot. That robot is built out of IKEA parts only, and the reason for that is that the guy, do you know Ted, the movie Ted with the teddy bear?
yeah,
You've probably heard of Mad
yeah,
Max too, and like the old Mad Max and stuff. The new Bob Dylan. A lot of the Hollywood movies that you see, there's always guys that they're called prop guys that build the props for these kind of movies. Turns out one of those guys is a Picturebooks fan, and we got our hands on this guy through Money Mark. Money Mark he's kind of the producer and songwriter for most Beastie Boys songs, like all the songs that we know, Sabotage and all that stuff. He is the head behind these things, and even there, it turns out this guy's a Picturebooks fan, and this is all in LA. We're just hanging out, and the way it works there is like you're on that party, you meet that guy, you talk about that guy, and so through like a crazy thing in a cafe, that was not even in a bar, it was just in a cafe. We're now talking with Money Mark, and turns out we go way back. This is because of my dad too, him being a pro skater and stuff, and him having a lot of connections to Beastie Boys and stuff. We talked and hung out all day, and then he brings in that guy, that Hollywood guy that did the TED thing. We talked to him. He loves the band. He loves the concept. And the reason why there's only IKEA parts is he's like, I don't have the budget to do it, but I still want to do it. So just let me use IKEA parts only. And I'm going to build you a robot that you can use for the music video. And I'm like, how the hell did this just happen? And so all the robot that you see in the video is all just like salad bowls and freaking lambs and like stuff from IKEA that he just freaking bought and gave me like a RV card remote thing, so I was like able to work the robot and stuff, just out of hand stuff. But who does that for a video that nobody believes in? And I told exactly what we're just talking about to Money Mark, and he's just a guy. he just knows how to use words. And he just looked at me and he goes, who says you're just making one video out of it? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you can do fucking 20 reels or whatever you want to call them out of it, or your TikToks. You got behind the scenes stuff from all of that. Don't just use this as one video. Make this a thing. You can work this for months, and even after the video's out, you can still always go back and like, that changed my mind a little bit. And all of a sudden, that frustration that you were just talking about, like dying, whatever you want to call it, I was like, oh shit, yeah, he is actually right. Like, who says that this is not something way bigger than just a video? This is maybe videos and content and a lot of stuff. So if you want to see it that way, I don't look at those numbers anymore, and I'm not frustrated. I'm talking about
Mm.
like views and stuff, and be like, because if I combine all the numbers that the damage, so to speak, that video had done, I'm proud of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, this is good. This was a lot of work, and it was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, and a great message again for maybe younger bands in similar positions. There, something they can take away from that if they're listening to this. A great opportunity there to build something bigger from that one video and make it even more worthwhile. So, no, absolutely love it. Anything that adds value to music videos, I'm always going to buy into. And yeah, obviously those tracks you talk about, Why Mother Why and Primate Dancer, come off of obviously Albuquerque, which came out in September. And
Yes.
my maths tell me that's about 6 months ago. And I always think 6 months is a great marker in time to ask a question of how have you found the reaction to that album?
Well, we're talking about crazy times here. This is the first album that came out on the our first and only label. It's a label that we call Sunny Slope Records, and we're a band that comes from very, like, I was 17 when we with the Picturebooks signed our first contract with the independent label here in Berlin, literally 2 blocks away from where we are right now, called Noise Illusion. A guy that believed in us from day one, that we're in contact with every day to this day, and just a mentor for the band. And that led to us going to writing Easy Records, a really cool indie label in Los Angeles. That led us to another Century, which was a part of Century Media Records. Then we went to Century Media Records. They got sold to Sony with our album Major Minor Collective. We were completely a Sony Entertainment band. So it literally went up that ladder, and it was just, we've seen pretty much every facade of what you can do as a band like us in the label world. So we felt like now we need to see what it's like if we do it ourselves completely. We're already doing the production, we're already doing the videos, the artwork, the merchandise, all these things. Like what is missing for that next step? And also being a little skeptical about the whole thing, like, what is a label doing these days still? What is the reason to be with the label anymore? Long story short, it's been great. It's been a great experience. I don't know how long we're gonna keep going like that. Maybe, I think there is a shift on how bands and labels will work in the future, because obviously the old school ways ain't working anymore. So it's been great. It's been crazy. A lot of mistakes, but obviously we were totally ready for it to make those mistakes, learned so many things, but also just happy about all those things we've done right. We didn't have to be in a meeting to talk about when we'll have the meeting to talk about the thing that we wanted to talk about in that meeting. Like all these things that, a lot of things, a lot of bands, I guess, go through when you're with those bigger labels and stuff. Not criticizing that. Those labels all did great. We never left those labels thinking piss off or something like that. Super grateful for all the things we learned and all the things they've done for us. So yeah, it's been great. It's been definitely been great, but I don't want to lie. It's struggling times for any band out there, and you got to be really freaking creative to stay busy, and we feel very blessed and lucky that we were able to manage to stay busy, to stay in, to spread the word and just keep going. Some of these things, literally, there's no money, no nothing. It was just freaking Instagram post, and to see, oh, it's coming along just from a post. That's cool to see. That is proving we're doing the right thing here. At the same time, it's shocking how little you can do with just that. That, like, even that whole system these days is completely corrupt, and you gotta boost the post, you gotta put the money into that. So shocking. So here to your answer, here are the three words: shocking. What's the word I'm looking for here? When you learn, like it was like
It's an experience.
learning curve or whatever. Yeah. And the third one, yeah, very just awesome, just an awesome experience too.
Yeah, no, I'm glad it was a lot of hard work, but obviously the rewards are there, including obviously you talk about staying busy. The best thing about a band getting to release new music is the fact they can go out and tour that new music, and that's exactly what you're doing right now. So
Yeah,
obviously you're in the midst of a European tour. You're going to be over in the UK in the next week or so as well, which is fantastic for us. So you're going to be
yeah,
playing in London, Birmingham, Manchester, and Glasgow, I believe.
yeah.
So obviously, plug for the listeners is there'll be a link in the bio. Please, please, please. Again, I caught you guys last year. Phenomenal show. I can only imagine what a headline show is going to be like. I desperately want to come to a show in the future. Sadly, I can't make these shows, but listeners, if you can make these shows, I really implore you to do it. Like, really jump on, grab a ticket, pop along to a show. So, I mean, how has the tour been going thus far, obviously over in Europe, and how excited are you to come over to visit us in the UK again?
The tour's going great. Seriously, every night's been great. Obviously, we're hearing a lot of people, and I'm talking about not just the club owners. We're talking about the promoters. We're talking about audience that go to shows. Like people from the audience. Everyone is kind of struggling right now. It's really hard for anyone to get people out to concerts. There's a dip right now somehow. Something's up. Um, for us though, it's been going great. It's been going the way we expected it. Is it over our expectations? No, it's right where we want it to be. So we're happy because we see people can't, like, bands, friends of ours, canceling shows left and right from us. And it's like, what is going on? So we're panicking out every night thinking, is this going to be the night? Is this going to be the night? Because there's always that one night on tour. But so far, man, we've been lucky. We had a great show every night, and I don't want to lie. Now, we're very open about these things. If we're in front of an empty room, we'll post about it. It's okay. These we're all going through it together.
Yeah.
So, but so far we've been great. We post about all those shows. We show honestly what is going on our shows, because I don't like the whole, like cookie cutting things, or I think it's important to show the people what it's actually, where we're at, and there's territories obviously where it's a little harder, but dude, we've been working so hard these for so long now, doing these support shows and in so many different territories. I mean, we're all over Europe, all over the UK, all over the US, all over Canada, and doing all these things on our own. It's a lot of work, so to see that plan work out is a great feeling.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
obviously excited about everything that is coming up, and we're already planning the next steps after that. So we're literally busy 24/7 working for the picture books.
Yeah, absolutely. And the rewards, like I say, are amazing when you get to go out and play these shows. And I know they're going to be amazing. Listeners really do need to go along. Social media, obviously, as we've touched on a little bit there, is the place to stay up to date. So listeners, links are in the bio, and the band make it really easy because I always give out the social handles. I've only got one to give out, and it's literally your band name. It is the Picture Hook, so it should flash up on the screen. But I'd like to think people would find you anyway. But believe me, sometimes I have to give out like 4 separate handles, and there's underscores, and there's all kinds of weird bits in there. nightmare. But yours was really easy. So listeners, follow the band to stay up to date with everything coming from them. Obviously, buy tickets, get to the shows if you can. It's really important to support live music as a whole. How have the songs from the last album translated on stage? Have they translated across as you expected them to?
We are the kind of band that we don't want to think about how are we going to translate onto a live stage when we're in the studio. The studio or the album is that one beast that you need to, its own beast that you need to fight against first. And if you're in there already trying to kill every idea that you could have, this is going nowhere. I mean, it's always good to put some borders up and be like, we're never going there, or we're never going there. But even that, we with the last couple of albums, we were just like, fuck all that. Like let's why would you build walls around you? We're artists. This is the reason why we're artists is to go beyond those borders, beyond walls, beyond all that shit. Like, let's just be creative and open for anything. And we can still later be like, all right, man, crazy synthesizer section back there was all great. And it led to like really cool ideas after that made the song better. But we don't need that 10-minute synthesizer solo in the little middle part there. Let's just get rid of that, and then we can actually have a song that has a chance, stuff like that. But in the process, to limit yourself in the process of something, I don't like that. So that it's its own beast, and we're super stoked now what we came up with, how we're translating it onto the live stage. We get very like super cool comments every night where people be like, I didn't even realize that you guys didn't have a full-blown band behind you performing these songs. Like, was it like that on the album too? Was it just you playing it live? Because it sounds like the album. And it's really hard to tell those people that no, it has been full-blown, multiple instruments, overdubs, all that to make that happen on an album. It's just a different thing live. You're in front of a PA. You're seeing people perform. It's, this is a different act where on your phone or wherever you listen to music to make that sound like that is a whole different ball game. If you're just playing in one room with one mic or whatever, no PA, with a little iPhone speaker to translate the Picturebooks power is, you need to work with the tricks that the studio is able to give you. And we're believers of both worlds. Less is more, but a production is a production, and an album production is important to use the studio as that tool. But the live thing is another thing, and we're keeping it real there as much as possible, as much as you can use the live thing as what it is.
Absolutely great mindset, and tracks the theme we've kind of picked up on a few times of keeping things real. So absolutely love that. I've got one final question, which is always the same final question, and it is follows the live conversation. And it's just literally, you've mentioned it, everyone is struggling out there at the minute. So I love to finish by just giving a shout out to a music venue of your choice. So if you could pick a music venue to give a shout out to, where would you like to give that shout out to?
There's a lot of shout outs I can do right now because I really mean it. I mean, the amount of venues that have been believing in us from day one, there's a bunch. I mean, the name drop in here is pretty long, and you just want me to do one, but I won't because there is a place that is called Alex's Bar in Long Beach. This is our hometown. I mean, this guy believed in us so much that when the first time we played there were 5 people in the room. The second time it was 150, and the third time it was sold out. And that is the power that one believer has, one guy. And that's that. But there's places like, I'm thinking of Glasgow, the King Tut's. It was a very similar thing. I mean, we so far couldn't freaking sell that place out, but they're still believing in us. They're still there. What's the one Forum in
Royal Tunbridge Wells.
Royal Tunbridge Wells. It's the Forum. I mean, same thing, man. There was like 9 or 12 people the first time. This is way, way back. I mean, over 10 years ago. We're just out there, they're loving it. The owner's there. He's loving it. He's like, I'm gonna keep going till you fill this place to the brim. And next time we're back and there's awesome people. There's freaking Anti Nowhere League and all those guys hanging out. There's like, what is going on? And and we're still continuing that relationship. That's another venue that I really want to mention. And so to just pick one out, and again, I'm already stopping here because I don't know how long you want me to keep going. There's Barcelona, there's stuff here in Germany, there's and I think the important thing is for any band or anyone out there, even or club owners or even the person that is a believer, you believer or people that have a believer, stick to those people. Don't fuck around. Don't try to find the next better spot. If you have that guy, if you have that place, just keep going with that. Never change a winning team, especially when it comes to these kind of things. Just to be in the next bigger venue. Look at all those bands right now that are canceling their big ass freaking venue shows or their big whole tours. There's one band from, I don't want to go into it, but there are two pieces as well that just canceled a whole arena tour. It didn't work out. People weren't buying the tickets. It's not a good look. Not a good look.
No.
Should have just kept it real and played the cool places that believed in that band from day one. That's just my 5 cents of wisdom.
And that is amazing wisdom. It really, really is. And, these people are so valuable that run these music venues. In 2025, you're not running an independent music venue with the idea of making money. You're doing it because you love music. You love to support the bands that are coming through. And we need to be supporting these people. So, I mean, I want to make a list of all of the answers that I get to that question. And I want to try and, in my life, visit all of them venues because I think it's absolutely amazing what the people out there are doing. And no, absolutely love the suggestions there. Royal Tunbridge Wells, get that royal bit in there because they're
Oh, you
precious
have
about
to.
that. But that venue is incredible. There used to be a public toilet.
I
That
know.
that
I know.
building, and they've
I know.
converted that
Yeah.
into. It is amazing, absolutely amazing. So
It's a rap venue though. They treat the bands nice. We always like even the freaking day that we played there in front of 9 people, whatever it was, we still got catering, which you as a Brit know. Catering in the UK is not given, it's usually like, oh, there's a Sainsbury down the road, like enjoy.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So that is amazing, and credit to those guys, and obviously thank you to you guys. For obviously joining me, having this chat, and obviously bringing the world of the picture books to life for me. Absolutely amazing,
Hell
listeners.
yeah.
My final message: get to a show. Check out obviously all the other stuff we talked about, but if you can get to one of the shows the band are about to play in the UK, please do. That is my final message, but I'd love to give the final message to the guests. So, what would be your final message for the listeners today?
Go to live shows. Um, it's rad. It really is rad. Believe me, don't forget how freaking rad it is to go to a live show. There is something about it. The music will always hit you different on a live show. This is not something that you can't skip songs or anything. You gotta, this it's everything that is happening. It's all just first times right there. It's like, and it's the only way to capture it is by being there, and that will forever be special and amazing. So that is the one thing. The other thing is, I don't know. Don't die. Make it happen.
Fantastic final message. Thank you both so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Hell yeah.
Well, there we have it. I really do hope you enjoyed that chat with the Picture Books. Do make sure you follow the band across social media to stay up to date with everything coming from them. And of course, try and pop along to one of their shows in the UK if you can. To close out the podcast, it's the final reminders from myself, as usual. If you could, please do follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And lastly, again, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening, because we'll be back very soon with another episode of the Full Pelt Music Podcast.